So, you may have already heard from somewhere that high frequency beings like yourself came to the planet voluntarily in order to help move humanity into our ascension, and that you are raising the frequency by being here. So, but what exactly is the frequency that you're holding, and how are you doing it? So that's an interesting question. And in this week's channeled message from the angels, they are explaining exactly that. So welcome back to my channel, you guys. And if this is your first time here, my name is Ann Tucker. I am a trance channel. I channel from the angelic realm. And that means I raise my awareness up as high as I can go. I go a little higher. I connect. The messages come through. I transcribe them and I share them here with you on YouTube. So, and as I said this week, the angels are talking about the frequency that you are holding and how it affects other people. And it's a very interesting message, not entirely what you would expect. So if you want to hear other messages like this one, and if you haven't already, please don't forget to subscribe. I really appreciate it. Enjoy the message. Well, today's message from the angels gets into the real details about what that is and why it's important. And what I love about this message is how it pulls in everything that they've been telling us up until now, like how it all comes together. It's like almost as if every week they're giving us like a little piece of the answer. Maybe it's just as much as we can hold, or maybe it's because that's just all the time that we have at the moment. You know, it's like you can't read a book and, all the pages at the same time. You have to take it one page at a time. But everything is so consistent, and it's showing us so much more about who we are and what we're doing and how we're helping humanity. It is so cool. So, hey, Amina, are you back home now? Amina's been traveling all over the place. I think you must be back in Luxembourg. So, all right. So let's go ahead. If you guys are ready, I'm ready. Let's dig into this. All right. So here is the first part of the message. They start out by saying, you are necessary to the opening. You are a branch, a connection point upon the earth that brings in light. You are suffering this feeling as all transpires, that I am released from this. I am not belonging. I should not be here. But we say you are working proud. You are storming in the energy of new beginning. So great opening, great first paragraph. Right? And they're saying, so what they're saying here is that yes, just like I said, a lot of you have heard that you are here, you are part of the team that is helping to raise the frequency of the planet, moving us into our ascension. So they're saying, yes, you are necessary to the opening. And they're saying a connection point upon the earth that brings in light. So that's in line with what a lot of us have heard, right? That you think of yourself. I've even heard of the sort of the web of connection, or the grid that goes around the earth, and then each of us that are conscious is like a light on that grid. So that connection point, right, that is again referring to that grid that goes around the planet. That is, each of us comes into our awakening, our little sort of point on that grid lights up. So I know a friend who actually had a near-death experience where she went out of her body, went up and actually saw that grid and saw all the points of light. So super cool. You probably have seen images of that online. So, all right. So then they say, you are suffering this feeling as all transpires. So as we are going through it, they know we are going through it, like just that eclipse energy we went through. And really right now, there has been a lot of energy to kind of push us through this opening, to sort of squeeze out as much junk as we can possibly discard. We've been in that energy. So they're saying that they know that we are suffering through some of this. This has been hard work to get to this point. They're saying that we're suffering this feeling as all transpires. And it can lead us to say these things, that I am released from this, that I am not belonging, I should not be here. So, and it's this, being of a high vibration in an environment that's so dense and so heavy, it's not unexpected that a lot of you feel a sense of non-belonging. And then compound to that coming here to serve and to be, and we are all serving ourselves, but coming here to be on the planet to help humanity, and through our awakening, you came in with spiritual gifts. And in doing so, you would have created for yourself a difficult arrival, a difficult opening onto the planet. Your birth, your whether it's in the womb or your birth experience, would have been difficult enough to cause you to leave a foot back on the spirit plane, kind of like, hey, this is hard here, I don't want to come. And that's on purpose so that you can bring through those spiritual gifts, right? So you create this difficulty in your birth that says, okay, I'm going to leave a foot on the other side, so that increases that sense as a light worker. And that term I use loosely because I know it means a lot of things to a lot of people, but I mean those of you who came here by choice to help. And so that idea of, or it brings in that feeling of like, I am not belonging here, I shouldn't be here. So these are all the feelings that are going to resurface, as you're going through this. Right? But we say you are working proud. You are storming in the energy of new beginning. I love that, right? That's so unambiguous. It is awesome. They're basically saying that you are doing the work, working proud, and you are storming in the energy. That this isn't a subtle thing. This is like you are marching in the parade down the street saying, I am bringing in this energy. So storming in. This isn't a subtlety like, oh, maybe we will, maybe we won't. It's like, no, you are working proud. Like, so cool, right? So cool. And then, and Donna's saying, I was born dead and was revived after 20 minutes. Woo, yeah, that's a big one. That's a big one for sure. Very cool though. Like, what does that tell you? So I'll be curious. Yep. So, okay, next paragraph. They say, you wear a curtain folded and it shades your perception. But what you are magnifies within the temperature of this elevation. You summon in an energy much like your own for processing the beginning. So what this is saying is that it's basically referring to the fact that yes, you may have learned that you came here, that you were a volunteer of some sort, that you came in to help raise the frequency, that we're moving through this awakening, all these things. But they're talking about with the veil, right, that curtain folded, that shades our perspective, our perception. We don't see it. And we might not see the effect that we're having. And we might even lose heart because of the fact that you can't see the impact that you're having. So they're saying, but they say what you are magnifies in this temperature of elevation, that it is through this contrast of your own experience of being light and being in a situation that is thick and difficult to work in, that comparison of your own energy magnifies the gift that you're bringing to humanity. So the experience of it being heavy is part of what amplifies the gift that you're bringing, and they'll go into that. So they say you summon in an energy much like your own for processing the beginning. So much like your own, it is your higher self. You're summoning in this higher self energy to help process this beginning. All right. So then next paragraph, they say, an answer to the call of who am I and what may I perform to go on living? Am I being what I came for? So it's really that, like, am I fulfilling my purpose? They go on to say, and yes, we say you are housing such an energy as transports you now into a subconscious state of offering, revealing not your cowardice should you wish to leave, for it is needed in your understanding to comprehend the difficulty, to lead with your own eyes upon the earth and feel its departure in your own skin. You are savagely opening your own self to be admired, forcing in these times of orchestration your own healing. It is an effort to be had by all who are awakening this chance forthcoming. So I feel like their words here really do honor to what all of us have been going through being here. Like, what is the experience of being on earth? It is not a gentle, easy experience. It is a hard experience. And I feel like they're choosing words here that really show that they know that, right? They're trying to really honor that experience. So to break down the paragraph, they're saying, in answering to that call of like, am I on my purpose? They're saying you are housing such an energy as transports you now into a subconscious state of offering. So you are doing this, what you're doing, the thing that they're going into here to explain how you're helping humanity is happening in a subconscious state. We're not aware of it all the time. And we may not be aware of it at all. Maybe some of you are aware of it, but generally it's happening in a subconscious state. Revealing not your cowardice should you wish to leave, for it is needed in your understanding to comprehend the difficulty. So they're saying, don't feel like you are, like that you feel like you want to give up. That's not a sign of your cowardice. The fact that you feel like this is really, really tough, that doesn't mean that you're a coward, that you came and you're just like, oh, I'm not up to the challenge. It's not what it means. The point is to feel the difficulty. The point is to be aware of the challenge and to let that sink into your conscious awareness. And so they're saying it's not a sign that you're not doing it right. It's a sign that you are doing it right. So to lead with your own eyes upon the earth and feel its departure in your own skin. So it's an experience of the heaviness and of the difficulty and of that sense of non-belonging and all of those things. That is part of what activates this frequency that you are sharing. So, and that's right there. Like, that's the ticket. Like, this experience of the heaviness is what activates, and it's that difference of your own vibration of being here. That's what activates the energy that is helping humanity. So this is huge. All right. You are savagely opening your own self to be admired, forcing in these times of orchestration, your own healing. I love that. You are savagely opening. So it's like I love how they say, because it does feel that way. You know, when you are going through it, when life is crashing in around you, recognize that you are creating those circumstances for your own healing. And it can feel like a savage experience. And so you are savagely opening yourself. So it is such a statement of your own courage in deciding to come here, right? So forcing in these times of orchestration, your own healing. This is not gentle. And you are doing so much just through your own process that, yes, it's serving you first and primarily, but you're doing it to sign up for this says so much about your own commitment to growth. And then to also know that by doing so, you're helping humanity is so, so cool. All right, I love that. Savagely opening your own self to be admired by them, right? By them, admiring what you're doing, admiring that you're going through this, right? It is an effort to be had by all who are awakening, this chance forthcoming. So they're saying that yes, you came specifically for that purpose, but this opportunity for healing is available for everyone. All right, next paragraph. But bridge the gap. You are having in your field a time of remembering, a time of passage stuck when all things moved in stagnant formation. And now all is light again by comparison. And you forecast this shadow now and let the others feel their proximity to liberty, to feel what rises within the next generation of themselves. So, and here, remember the angels don't experience time the way that we do. So now, they say now all the time as in like tomorrow is now, yesterday is now, like now is just now. It's like that long now, like now, it's just now. Always is now. It can be a little frustrating. You're trying to understand them. Are they talking about now or yesterday now? So, okay, so here they're talking about tomorrow now. And they're saying, bridge the gap. You are having in your field a time of remembering, a time of passage stuck when all things moved in stagnant formation. So you have this in your experience. That there is, and it's a time of remembering. So it's like, you know what this is. You know what this time period is that we're in right now. You have experienced this before, this sense of heaviness. And we really are. Like, I think there is a mistaken sense because of what humanity has accomplished in terms of technology, that we compare ourselves to cavemen and we say, wow, this is a period of such enlightenment. We've come so far. We've grown so much. But if you look at the cycle, I think it is of like 28,000 years, and it's like, this is a thing that comes from I think from Hinduism, and from India, where they have this, and I try to remember the names. If one of you knows what I'm talking about, please put in the names, because I should have written this down ahead of time, but I forgot. But there's a series of time periods that we go through where we go from some like an enlightened conscious state, which would have been sort of the last time of like ancient Egypt, and then we go through gradual darkening, and then slowly lightening. And we are, according to this cycle of like 28,000 years, the period that we are in right now is the dark ages in terms of spirituality. We are in the darkness, which is so crazy because we always think, oh, look, we have computers and we have cars and we can do all these things. But yeah, according to spiritual perception, we are in a period of spiritual darkness, and we are just now, as of like 2012, we are starting to emerge and coming out into the light. So this is the awakening, and we're moving back up. And there's so much we could say, but yes, the yugas, thank you so much. Kali Yuga, that is it. That's exactly what I'm talking about. And Betsy's saying, I can hear the GPS saying, recalculate. Totally. So yeah, but Kali Yuga, that's exactly what we're in. And we are moving out of this. So you have an understanding of this at a deep spiritual level. There's a part of your soul that knows this, that knows that we are remembering, we are in this dark state, and what darkness is in terms of spiritual awareness of humanity. And we are slowly moving into the light, right? So they're saying that you have this, in this time they're remembering this passage stuck when all things moved in stagnant formation. So this is where we've been. And now all is light again by comparison. So every step forward from here is a step forward into the light. We have reached what is the opposite of nadir? Like the worst point, that's the lowest point. We've reached the lowest point, and we are slowly moving up and out of that stagnation and into the light. So every step we take forward by comparison is infinitely lighter than yesterday, right? So this is where we are right now. They're saying you are having in your field. So you have this, your higher self is aware of this, that at a deep level, there's a part of your being that is aware of this, where you've been and where we're going. So, and now all is light again by comparison. And you forecast this shadow now and let the others feel their proximity to liberty. So it is this awareness of the next breath, this awareness that we are moving into the light. What is it to move into the light? This is what we're forecasting. This is what we are trying to express. So it's really like hope for a journey is what we are trying to communicate to anyone who has not yet awakened, who is stuck in that stagnant energy. We're trying to express to them through the energy that we hold that there is hope, that with every breath we're moving forward into the light. This is what we need for them to understand so that they will open to it, so that they can move into it. So they're saying, and you forecast the shadows now and let others feel their proximity to liberty, to feel what rises within the next generation of themselves. So this is the work that we're doing, right? All right. And then Sishu was asking when we entered the last Satya Yuga. I don't know. She's asking if it's 12/21. I have heard 12/12. What is it? December 2012. I've heard more recently. Again, I heard it in 2021 is right. You're correct. I've heard it, but I don't think it's super specific. I think even among people who study that, there is not a huge amount of certainty about the specific date that we transitioned into it, but I do know we are past it. Based on all of the people who are analyzing that whole idea of, or who are talk about it, everyone agrees we have now moved beyond the low point and we are moving into the light, that's the most important thing. When it happened is less important. What most matters is the fact that we are heading in the right direction now. So, okay. All right. And by the way, I've heard that the yugas is about that if there is a twin star, this gets into a whole nother thing, but a twin star to the sun, that the two of them move in orbits kind of circling around each other, if you can imagine, like this. And that as that 28,000 year cycle is this cycle. And as we get closer to the sun, closer to the light, more enlightenment, further away, we go into the darkness. So it's like that, 28,000 years. And that I have heard that. I cannot say whether or not that is true, but it makes sense to me. So I thought I'd share it. All right, next paragraph. They say, they offer now no instance to comprehend your offering. They are standing next as brothers and sisters shall, and feel nothing, and yet the effects are working. A sense of what is rising within them, and a contrast to the levity on offer. How can one submerge the self and all its trappings long enough to show their origin mind that all things are different? That earth is rising and they can take part. The instance of your impact, it gives such an opening to discern for themselves they are changing. So, and this is what we've been hearing so much of. Remember how the angels, the message over and over and over again has been for over a year now. They've been telling us about the need to get into this space of opening, to be able to release what was and be open to the new, and to be in this space, this liminal moment of change, right? The space where we let go of our expectations. It's about letting go of what we expect and allow. And they've said that so many different ways. So here they are saying that this is what your energy is helping with, which is like so cool. So they offer now no instance to comprehend your offering. So the people who are not yet awakened do not have an opportunity. They're not open, basically. They're not open. They're not receptive. They are standing next to you like a brother and sister. So these are people who are our brothers and sisters standing right next to you, but they feel nothing. And yet the effects are working. So they're totally unaware of it, right? They could be standing right next to you. And so that's a big question. It's like, oh, I wonder, being a high vibration being, if you go out into the world and then you have this effect and they feel it, do they feel it? No, they don't feel it, but it's still working. So they're saying a sense of what is rising within them,
and a contrast to the levity on offer. So what it is, it's like, and this is what I think is so interesting about this message, is they're telling us the effect that you're having on other people, how your frequency, what is the frequency you're holding, and how is it working? So they're saying that that basically when you are next to them, they're not going to become aware of like, ooh, I'm standing next to a person of who's high vibe. They're not going to know that. But what they're going to have instead is a sense of something rising up in themselves, a feeling. It might be a glimpse, an awareness. It might even be junk coming up. It might be negative experience. It might be something where they start to become open to healing and stuff starts to emerge. So that actually feels negative in the moment, even though we know that that's a positive expression. It means that stuff is released and is coming up, but they might experience it as bad feelings. So what is rising within them, and a contrast to the levity on offer. So this is what we're trying to get them to, is the sense that, yeah, things are heavy, but there's a contrast to the levity, that there's that whisper, that breath that the angels talk about all the time. They say that the way they try to help people is when they're in their darkest depths, when they're experiencing addiction, when they're in those places that are so unreachable. They just are looking for a crack and opening where they can whisper in a breath of possibility to suddenly change their perception. And this makes me think of, I remember hearing a story about a woman who crossed over, and she was, on the astral, in the spirit realm, and she died. And she was what you would consider to be an unawakened person who was on the other side, who had died and had recreated in her life there a home just like the one she had been living in. And she had been a really, really clean person. And in her home, in the spirit realm, she had an end table that she was dusting. And she somehow got lost in the pattern of dusting and dusted that table for the equivalent of something like 200 years. And her family was wondering why, when they would try to tune into her or connect with her, why didn't she ever show up in their dreams? Because she was dusting. She literally 200 years just gone, just lost, because she got stuck in this pattern of just repeated action. And that is something that humanity is prone to. And we do that in living. We do that here. Think about all the people who live in pattern and repeat. They wake up, hit the repeat button, and do the same thing over and over and over again. And their life one day looks very much like the next. And that's something we're very, very prone to. And so just getting a breath of air into that, a moment of perception of something else, of a possibility, is a huge accomplishment. And it can make all the difference. So, and Betsy is saying, it's difficult to go with the flow when the current is trying to pull us under. And it's very, very true. And that is something they were speaking to before, that this is not an easy undertaking, but it is that experience of the undertow that is important for us to embody and to recognize, because it helps create the contrast that we're trying to exemplify. So we have to experience the pain so that we can be light, experience the dark, and convey that difference through our frequency. If that makes sense. I think that is what this message is trying to tell us. So, okay, so then they say a sense of what is rising within them and a contrast to the levity on offer. How can one submerge the self and all its trappings long enough to show their origin mind that all things are different? So this is submerging the self and all its trappings, our daily life. If we're truly lost to our conscious awareness and drifting and focused on things that don't matter, how do we submerge that long enough, get free of that? I love that they call it submerging it. It's like we think of awakening as coming up. This is pushing it down, getting it out of. It's like it's crowding the field, clogging your vision, clogging the third eye. How do we help them push that down long enough to notice that things are different? So they're saying that, yeah, things are different right outside, right in front of you, but we're not seeing it. So there it is, pushing it down, or they're not seeing it. So that earth is rising and that they can take part, right? This is what we're trying to communicate. The instance of your impact, it gives such an opening to discern for themselves that they are changing. So this is the difference that you are having just by holding this frequency of the awareness of the darkest dark, the awareness of the heaviness, while at the same time embodying the light. So cool. Okay, next paragraph. Now that what happens in their world cannot be foretold, and they must listen for a whisper of change around themselves. This is all the opening we need. A receptive touch and anchor you provide to that next step and instigation. We cannot meddle by their sides. We cannot stay and breathe and wait and then lullaby them into their next nature. No, indeed, it takes a force of beginning, of having felt and contemplated the darkness, the dark opening within yourselves, and the next beginning. So, okay, so they're saying that this is really what's required. They say now that what happens in their world cannot be foretold. So what's coming is not something they can expect, right? It's not something that is in our vocabulary of experience. They must listen for a whisper of change around themselves. They have to be open to perceive it or they won't see it. They don't have any way to conceptualize it, right? So, and we don't see things that we don't understand. We tend to block them out. We tend to look for things that are familiar. So there has to be an opening, some reason to get them to wake up and look, just to look. And this is, I think, what awakening means here is that willingness to step out of the fog. They say a whisper of change around themselves. They say, this is all the opening we need. This is the angel saying, this is all we need to help reach them. A receptive touch and anchor that you provide, right? This is what we're doing to that next step and instigation. So it's really our job is to just whisper the hope, whisper that there's something to see, to notice, to give them a feeling of something else is out there, that there's a reason to look up. And then the angels say, we cannot meddle by their sides. It makes me think, they use the word meddle. It makes me think of like Scooby-Doo and Friends, those meddling kids. But the angels say they cannot meddle. They can't go in and mess with someone's energy without permission. They're not allowed to do that. There's rules, right? There's rules on the Earth School about what the angels can and cannot do, and violating free will is top of the heap. So they're saying they cannot do it, but we can. And they're saying that, so they can't meddle. They also say they cannot stay and breathe and wait, then lullaby them into their next nature. They're saying that just letting it go, they're not going to just accidentally stumble into their next nature, into the awakening. That if they don't do anything, then these people are not going to have the opportunity. So it's saying that that's not an option either. So they're saying, no, indeed, it takes a force of beginning, of having felt and contemplated the darkness, the dark opening within yourselves, and the next beginning. So this is it. So by doing this, by going through your own healing, contemplating the darkness, feeling that pulling under and moving through it and letting stuff rise up in you and becoming aware of the contrast in yourself, of being a light being and feeling the darkness and holding both at once, that is a vibration. And that it allows them to feel that in the darkness there is a new beginning. All right, the next paragraph, they say, the feeling of lightness and free thinking, the acceleration of your living, you feel this now as a frequency, a type of thinking, a way of being, a next to nothing and yet rising freely, feeling all is lost but no negativity. You are a wellspring from which to serve this energy. You have felt all things necessary to transmit a complacent aspect, an avoidant being, into their next opening. So super cool. Donna's saying, as we're surviving the dark, the mixed, morally blinded customs of a particular group have tended to withdraw and develop a self-sufficient society of their own, which distinct and rigid mores as we carry the light, share your light. Yes, and I would say that you know, and there are no, in terms of awakening souls, there are no political lines, there's no division along ideology. It's really all energy. So anywhere that there's polarity, anywhere that people are moving to the extreme and in judgment of one another, then we are finding that they are missing this energy, right? And it's that desire to bring everybody back to a space where it's love, where we recognize ourselves in each other and find that love. And I think that's what you're saying, that, and not withdrawing from each other, right? Finding instead in each other that we're all the same. And so this paragraph, to break apart this paragraph, okay, oops, sorry, I was looking at the wrong side. Here we go. So breaking apart this paragraph, so this is talking about what's the state that we're in right now? The feeling of lightness and free thinking. And I think that is it, is that non-attachment that I was talking about before, that willingness to release and to be in this sort of the liminal state, which is that state of change, a state in between. And it's that emptying out the closet, and it has to stay open for a little bit for new stuff to come in. So they're saying an acceleration of your living. You feel this now as a frequency. This state of change becomes a frequency of being, losing everything and being open and recognizing that we're moving into the next state. And that doesn't mean you have to lose everything. That's not what I'm saying. But it is the recognition that what has been is not the same anymore. And that the world is changing. So a type of thinking, a way of being, a next to nothing. So standing next to nothing or standing next to the loss of what used to be. Maybe they had a pattern where they would go to the same restaurant every Tuesday and it was always this. And all of a sudden that restaurant closes and they can't anymore. And they're standing next to it and they're saying, I have nothing. My Tuesday thing is gone, right? And they say standing next to that and yet rising freely. Feeling all is lost, but no negativity. So being able to stand next to that and say, oh, well, okay, that means that this is an empty space and something else is going to fill it. What will it be? Something better. Something better is coming. This is the energy we're trying to get into. So no negativity. So you are a wellspring from which to serve this energy, the awareness of the darkness and holding the light at the same time. You have felt all things necessary to transmit a complacent aspect. So in other words, you have felt all of this. You've been through this. You have experienced your own healing. So by doing so, you can transmit for a complacent aspect, meaning a soul who is complacent, who is accepting, who is dormant, right? An avoidant being, someone who really doesn't want new things, into their next opening. So they're describing here very specifically what it is you're doing, how you are serving. So cool. Next paragraph, they say, you harbor a gift of longevity. So they're going into another aspect of what this is here. It's a gift of longevity. Your features stand in every opening longer than you can understand. It is a resting of your feeling, of how you are perceived. Energetically, you leave a trace with every coming and stay, reside in their space of comprehension so long as they need, to transpire a reflection upon themselves, to equate their life with your own and feel a difference forming a separation in themselves. So what they're saying here is that when you are next to someone, you literally can just be next to someone, that it's literally like you are leaving a trace of energy. So your energy lingers longer. So this frequency that you're holding of being of the light and also in the darkness, being the light in the darkness. So holding both of those frequencies of having understood the darkness and being the light at the same time, and moving through it and being in that space of as much as you can, openness and release, allowing, being in that frequency, that when you're around others, you're holding that and it sticks around. It's like a really sticky frequency. So it lingers. So think of it as like a really strong perfume. So even as you walk away and you're not around them anymore, that feeling about you, that frequency is resting. It stays behind. It stays in their field for much longer than you would realize. So it lingers in there, and it's how they perceived you, even if it's just in passing, right? And so energetically, they're saying you leave a trace with every coming. So every time you walk by somebody, you're leaving this trace, and it stays, and it resides in their space of comprehension. So there's an awareness, even though they're not consciously awareness, there's an energetic awareness to it, right? To transpire a reflection of themselves. And I say it stays long as, so anyways, it helps them to start to see in themselves. They feel this difference. It's a palpable difference between their frequency and yours, of what you left behind, of this specific frequency, about this opening, this allowing of being the light that's in the darkness. And so to equate their life with your own and feel a difference forming, a separation in themselves. So it starts to pull them away. It's almost like seeing dark and light together. It pulls them away from the stagnation that they're in and leads them toward like, what is that? What is that light? Right? That's the feeling. And Betsy's saying we're bug zappers. That is awesome. And you're saying praying something better is coming. It is. And I know it's been hard, you guys. And if you have been feeling it, this has been a particularly difficult time. I know that. But it is. It's sort of like the last moments before they're trying to get as much healing done as we possibly can. So that is why. Like this is a period of such opportunity, and that feels really, really hard in the short term. But once you release it, you never feel it again. So it is so worth it. It's like the way to really, really purge it from yourself. So, all right, next paragraph, they say, they don't come to it naturally. They are determined to find no divergence, no shift. They are arriving much the same as they are. And this matters, this opening. It must residually leave its trace, or they won't feel it beginning. You are helping. Feel it not, but never worry. It is happening. As you unfold your life into every opening, you feel aligned. You are healing unwittingly. So basically, they're saying that you are most likely not aware of this happening at all, because all you're doing is being. You are just being you, and you're moving through your journey. And as an awakened soul, that means that you are healing, that you are seeing your own and the ways in which you limit yourself, your own limiting beliefs, the energies, the patterns, the things that you hold. Those things are the darkness that you are freeing from your own field. And it is that awareness of the contrast as you bring things up and release them. That is the frequency. And you are holding that frequency of possibility. And so just by being around them, that is a sticky substance and they feel it. So they say, even if you're not aware, don't worry, you are doing your work. Like you are making an impact. And they're saying that without you, it would not happen. That there isn't a way that the angels can come in and do this. They can't do it without permission, but you can. You are allowed because you're here, you're embodied. The rules say if you're here, you can mess with someone's energy, and not in like a bad way. I mean like in a way where you're walking by them and giving them your essence. But I don't mean like go and like do stuff to people's energies without their permission. Not consciously, but you can do this. You can interact with people in a conscious way, and you can do this. You can influence them by your presence. So they say, yeah, and this matters, this opening. And they say without it, they would stay pretty much the same as they are. So they said it must residually leave its trace or they won't feel it beginning. So this is huge, right? A huge impact, a huge help that you are having. You are helping. They said, feel it not, but never worry. It is happening as you unfold your life into every opening. So they mean as every time you are going through, as you're unfolding into every chance that comes your way, every opportunity, and that includes also healing opportunities. It means every moment of darkness, every difficult thing you go through, right? As you go through, you are healing unwittingly. So the more you engage, the more you expose yourself in your own life, the more you are doing. So cool. All right, next paragraph. They say, embrace your life and feel your presence felt by another. Feel your pockets emptying and all substance of what was released. And know you feel nothing you can recall again. It is a space of difference. And in this template, you arrange your calling into an opening and they will feel it. Do your necessary business. Be in life and living. You impart this gift by your presence, and we are grateful. So they are saying, really, it's like embrace your life, like live your life. That don't feel like even if your life is unfolding in a pattern that you're not sure where it's going, even if you feel like you have more to do, that you're not doing your full thing yet, that you feel like there's more you're supposed to have come for. Even if you feel that, note that you are already doing enormous work by being here. That doing your own healing is a huge part of the work because it helps to expose you to this contrast, to allow the negativity to come up, to experience it while being the light. And then as you release it, to experience more of the light, right? And it's that very frequency of darkness into light that you are conveying to everyone you move around. So it is so cool. Feel your presence felt by another. So this is how they will experience you, as this potential, this possibility. And then they say here, feel your pockets emptying and all substance of what was released. So this is that allowing things to move through you, not hanging on to the things, it's releasing our expectations. And know you feel nothing you can recall again. So as you heal, as you release old stuff, old burdens, they never come back again, right? You are healed, you are open, you are released. So they say, and know you feel nothing. So in the next part here, they say, it is a space of difference. So that is the contrast, is what you're communicating. And in this template, you arrange your calling into an opening, and they will feel it, right? So do your necessary business. So here's what we're saying, engage in your life, live your life, do the things you need to do to be a human, right? To earn your living, to have your relationships, to be happy, right? Be in life and living. And they say, you impart this gift by your presence, and we are grateful. So it's not like you have to stop everything that you're doing. You don't have to go into, a mountain by yourself in, off in the Himalayas somewhere and just pray in order to do this work. It is about being in the world and embodying this energy through your own healing process. It's about engaging in life and living. So All right. So super, super cool message. I think it gives us a lot more understanding, because I know a lot of us have heard, that there's a lot of it is holding the frequency, bringing in the light. What does that mean? Like, what is that frequency? Well, here, this is what it is. It's about this experience of what it is to have gone through healing, to have been in a dark space, and to have also been the light, and then to also have to move through the darkness and experience the light. So even if you are still in a dark place, I know some of you are still in a dark place, know that you are in a dark place and you are the light. So you are still embodying that contrast. So, and you will get through it. This dark stuff is not going to be around here forever. It is a passage. So when stuff is coming up for you that feels heavy, do your best not to resist it and to let it move through you, to stay out of story, to let it move through you, to experience it, to recognize this is just an energy and that you can release it. You can feel better. So I know it's a process. It's not easy, but you can do it. Fully functioning light worker. Woohoo! All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining me. I really like this message. I hope you did too. I think it just really added a lot of understanding, and it tied together with so much consistency, so many of the things they've been telling us about how they work with us, what we are doing, the energy we're in, which is this empty closet, right? The experience of allowing as we move through, releasing your expectations. Super, super cool. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I hope you have some good things planned. And I will look forward to seeing you guys next Friday live. Thanks so much. I'll see you next time. Bye, you guys.